Good morning and welcome to the Falcon Focus podcast. We are live outside the Falcons Nest and the Student Union here on the Concordia campus and live every Tuesday from 9:30 to 10 a.m. as we recap the week that was and preview the week that will be in Falcon athletics. My name is Matt Menzl, and as always, we'll be joined by a couple of guests as we turn our attention to ACHA men's ice hockey, joined by Brandon Richards, the first-year Falcon head coach. We'll also talk women's soccer, that with freshman midfielder Angela Macchia. But first, let's recap the week that was. A busy week, as always, here in the fall season in Falcon athletics, and a week, at least for women's volleyball, that would see them come away with 3 victories. And for the women's volleyball team, their week began last Tuesday. They won at Rockford. It was a 3-set sweep, 25-21, 25-16, and 25-19. 16 players played. Megan Mayer had a great week, came through with a total of 7 kills to lead the attack, and then Annie Marie Ozelka came through with a total of 8 digs in that sweep victory. On Friday, the match delayed by about 30 minutes thanks to traffic, but Illinois Tech, the newest member of the conference, finally showed up to the John Book Fieldhouse, and the Falcons able to make quick work of the newbies. Again, 3-0, the Falcons were victorious, 25-22, 25-15, and 25-19. Megan Mayer, a double-double. She had 10 kills and 14 digs. And then Saturday, part of family weekend, able to knock off Dominican 3-1, 25-17. Lost the second set, 25-22, and then bounced back to win 25-22, 25-22. And again, Megan Mayer with a double-double. She now has 12 of those on the season. She came through with 15 kills and 13 digs. Ariana Richmond, 26 digs, and then Haley Cito, a double-double with 22 assists and 15 digs. The volleyball team sits with 14 victories and 4 defeats overall. 8-0 in conference play. They've now won 32 consecutive conference matchups. They're now 4-0 inside the John Book Fieldhouse, and they've won 12 consecutive at home. In men's soccer on Wednesday, they knocked off Wisconsin Lutheran at home by a 4-0 score. 2 minutes and 33 seconds on in. Zach Jaritzo was able to score what proved to be the game-winning goal, scoring the game winner for a second consecutive year against Wisconsin Lutheran. Nate Yeager, the goalkeeper, coming through with an assist, the first time a Falcon goalkeeper recording a point since 2015. Also in that game, Christian Turpak able to score. Same thing with Tyler Salvador and Paulo Lacida. So they were all goal scorers in that victory against Wisconsin Lutheran. And then Saturday, the big win on the road. First road victory of the year, knocking off Dominican. Always big when you knock off the Stars, and the Falcons did so by a 2-1 score. Fell behind 1-0, yet came back, tied the game in the 63rd minute. Dago Diaz with the equalizer. The game winner scored by Christian Turpak, his 3rd game winner of the year, and it came in the 83rd minute. First time the Falcons have beaten the Stars since 2015, yet the first time they've beaten Dominican down in River Forest, Illinois, since 2002. The men's soccer team with 6 victories, 5 defeats, and 1 draw. 3-2-1 right now in conference play. In women's soccer, we'll talk more about this in just a little bit, but they knocked off Wisconsin Lutheran 6-2 on Wednesday. A couple of hat-trick performances. Alexandra Tomic able to come through with her 2nd career hat-trick. Now has 8 goals on the year. And Isabel Downs, who added an assist, also with a hat-trick. She too has 8 goals on the season. The Falcons able to come through with that convincing victory. And the last time they had 2 teammates in the same game record hat-tricks. Let's go back to a game in 2005. Also for the women's soccer team, a setback on Saturday, losing to first-place Dominican by a 3-0 score, outshot 16-3. The women's soccer team back at home on Wednesday against Lakeland, now with 7 victories and 7 defeats. 5-1 though right now, tied for 2nd in conference play. In men's cross country on Friday, they were at the Benedictine Eagle Invite and finished in 5th place out of 18. Wesley Sheikey placed 5th to lead the Falcons with a time of 25 minutes and 59.0 seconds. In women's cross country on Friday, also at the Benedictine Eagle Invite, they finished in 10th place out of 16, in which Mackenzie Dorth placed 10th out of the number of individual runners for the Falcons with a time of 24 minutes and 27.7 seconds. ACHA men's ice hockey coming through with their first 2 wins of the season. A weekend sweep of Augustana, winning on Friday in convincing fashion, 11-3, and followed it up with a convincing 7-1 victory. And again, we'll talk more about ACHA men's ice hockey in just a moment. In women's tennis, they lost to Edgewood 6-3. That put an end to their 36-match conference win streak. their first conference loss. They lost to Edgewood as well back in 2014. In women's tennis, they were able to wait out a short weather delay, but also had to travel 45 minutes and took the match indoors. The women's tennis team now with 9 victories and 1 defeat overall. 8-1 in conference play. They wrap up their regular season slate coming up against Lakeland. In football, what a big result on Family Weekend, Military Day, the annual Cheese Bowl battle against the Lakeland University Muskies, and the Falcons able to pitch the shutout. 17-0, registering 324 offensive yards. Jacob Mason got the scoring starter with a 22-yard field goal. Quarterback Aaron Nixon, he threw for 112 yards, also ran for 116. Josh Sanders, 2 touchdown receptions to the win. Lakeland with 5 turnovers, and for the football team, their first win against Lakeland since 2013. It was their first shutout since 2012, and their first shutout of Lakeland since 2000. And to the football team, continue what has been their best start since 2006. And now sit with 4 victories, 1 defeat overall. They're 2-0 in conference play. First time they're 2-0 in conference play since 2015. They're currently tied for first with the Eureka College Red Devils, the newest member, at least for football, here in the NAC. In Sunday field hockey, they lost 5-0 against Rhodes. That matchup taking place from Maryland Heights, Missouri. It's a non-conference matchup, although they will face Rhodes in a conference matchup coming up on the 20th of October. Field hockey sits right now with 5 victories and 4 defeats. They're 1-1 in conference play, off currently for 10 days. They'll next be in action for their only home match of the year, which comes your way on October the 17th, that against DePaul. And then in men's golf on Sunday, it was the first of a couple of rounds, which culminated on Monday in the NAC Championship. They hosted the first couple of rounds. They're from Whistling Straits, and right now sit in 3rd place out of 9 with a score of 636. And, a tough day on Sunday weather-wise, but a nice bounce back on Monday. 302, their second-round team score. It was the 3rd lowest in program history. Right now, for the Falcons, it is Dylan Carvalho, who is pacing the squad with a 155 score through 2. That currently is good for a 6th overall. The NAC Championships will culminate with rounds 3 and 4, not until April 28th through the 29th. That will be hosted by Benedictine from Aurora, Illinois. So that's the week that was in Falcon Athletics. When we come back here, we will talk ACHA men's ice hockey. Brandon Richards, their first-year head coach, will join us here on the podcast. Stay tuned to tune into the Falcon Focus podcast.
The Student Personnel Administration in Higher Education, or SPAHI program at Concordia University, is designed for people who want to work in the university setting in any department. So if you're interested in working in academic advising, campus activities, residence life, admissions, financial aid, this program is really designed for anyone interested in those areas. The mission of Concordia is to help students develop in mind, body, and spirit, and that was really evident in the program. I really enjoyed that I could be in class one night and take what I learned and apply it on the job the very next day. My name is Amber Schiesel, and I am a SPAHI graduate.
Welcome back to the Falcon Focus podcast. We're live every Tuesday from 9:30 to 10 a.m. on Facebook Live. You can watch the archive at cuwfalcons.com and download the audio at Podbean, which also you can find at cuwfalcons.com. And as we continue, we talk ACHA Division II men's ice hockey, a second-year program here at Concordia, and kind enough to join us is their first-year head coach, Brandon Richards. And first of all, Coach, I'm sure it's a question you get all the time, but what is ACHA men's ice hockey, and how is that different from the NCAA Division III program Concordia has?
So ACHA is its own branch, aside from the NCAA. NCAA is obviously more scholarship-based, academic-wise at the NCAA D3 level for Concordia. Club hockey is just a different program here for kids to still compete at the college level and pursue their academic careers. So kind of helps in favor. It's not just a JV team anymore. It's more.
So I guess as a player, how would you, determine, or how would that be decided if you decide to go the ACHA route versus NCAA D3? Is it just, is it a matter of skill level, talent?
Yeah, skill levels obviously there. There's different levels at the ACHA level. ACHA D1, D2, D3. It just opens up a lot of avenues for kids that don't get the looks from other colleges. So having an opportunity to play club hockey at the ACHA level is a different perspective for players to come in, and it widens the gap for now hockey players in general to play hockey at a collegiate level as well.
Now, for you, you obviously had a great playing career going back to your days growing up in Canada. You look back, and how would you, I guess, characterize, your career, and meaning, your takeaways from different levels of experience that you have?
Yeah, growing up in Canada, obviously playing AAA hockey in Halifax, Nova Scotia, it sets the tone. It's kind of the norm in Canada, right? But I moved to West Virginia when I was 12 years old, and then played hockey up in Pittsburgh. Played for the Junior Pens organization, AAA base there. So the variety, it's just the experience with traveling now. In Canada, there's a lot of local teams, so in high level. In the United States, you have to travel far now for that competition. But growing up, it was always AAA hockey, and then made a junior team at a high school up in for the Northern Cyclones, and then tore my ACL and had to go the college route after that. So went to West Virginia University, played ACHA D1 club for them, and that's the story there.
Do you find it to be helpful that you're not that far removed from your playing career, that you can kind of relate to today's players?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. My parents actually kind of joke with me sometimes because I still have eligibility left to play. So it's kind of tough at that point. But, just the way my career has progressed, focusing on my coaching career now, it's definitely a step back, and, trying to focus on the coaching.
And you look at your resume, and you've coached at the U14, U18, the high school, the college levels. Was coaching always in your blood? Was that something that you knew once your playing days were done that you would go the coaching route?
Yeah, pretty much. My dad was a volleyball coach, so I learned a lot of lessons from him. My mother was a cheerleader, so she, instilled that aggression there and hype. So I learned a lot from my parents. My brother is actually the head coach at Alabama, ACHA D1. So again, most of my communications to my team and stuff, the lessons that I learned from my parents and my brother.
So when you look at yourself as a coach, would you say you model yourself maybe after some of your family members, or is there other coaches that you've played for that you look up to and say, hey, I want to be like that, or instill some of that? Yeah,
no, I look up to my brother a lot, so a lot of his coaching philosophies and stuff I resemble for my teams that I coach as well. Coaching last year with Temple University, Mark Spies, played at the collegiate level as well for Michigan, so I like what he put in the organization for Temple last year, and try to resemble a little bit this year with the program. Since it's my first year, just trying to learn as much as I can with Jason Wise here in the NCAA team. So I'm trying to progress here as coaching.
So this opportunity obviously presented itself here at Concordia. What attracted you to it, and what ultimately led you here to becoming a Falcon?
So wanted to get back into my coaching career. Last 2 years I've been working with the Lehigh Valley Phantoms in the American Hockey League, working in sales for them, but wanted to step away and work on my coaching career. Okay. And focus down the road, hopefully maybe at a hockey ops job here down the road, but wanted to get into coaching and wanted to get my master's degree as well. So Concordia presented it, and I'm just lucky to be here.
And besides being the head coach of the ACHA team, you're also going to be a grad assistant for the Division III men's program. Do you see that being challenging? Obviously, the games haven't started yet for the Division III program, but once those games get going, do you see it being challenging trying to juggle the two?
Not really. Obviously, my head coach for the club team is my number one role. So if there is any overlaps, I'll have to help out the club team. But Jason has been very well with helping me and progressing my coaching abilities. As far as the NCAA team is concerned, we stepped on the ice first yesterday, and the boys look good. So I'm excited for the year, and hopefully we can crack the top 15 and get a conference championship.
So far as ACHA goes, there's 6 games in, a couple of victories, 4 defeats, a great past weekend against Augustana. Your takeaway so far from what you've seen in the first now 3 weeks?
It was pretty shaky to start. Obviously, having 3 lines, 15 players, skaters-wise, is always tough, especially at the collegiate level. The boys were just learning my systems and what my expectations are from them. So, the first couple games were a test. They started to battle back here against Augustana, and things started clicking. They did the little things, the simple plays, and, it's kind of one of those things where you just kind of look and you're laughing at the guys like, if you do these systems, it actually, works. So, we're having a lot better practices now, and then going into Illinois this weekend, we should be ready to go.
You say, players are starting to understand your expectations. What are your expectations?
So my expectations are pretty simple. You keep the plays simple. You don't try to do too much. A lot of guys get carried away at the collegiate level, try to do too much on their own when it's a team game. So, you break it down, you make the simple plays, simple passes, and it opens up the game a lot more for them to execute their plays.
It seems like, at least looking at box scores and looking at some of the numbers, scoring hasn't been an issue, at least not the last 3 games, at least 7 goals in each of those 3 contests.
Yeah, no, our first line has definitely helped us out. Great rookies by Cody Faber and Alec Morano, who's helped our team out, immensely. And then, having that leadership role from Benny Sears and Jonathan Grodsky, and it's helped our team out a lot for sure.
Who are some of their players? I know you just mentioned a few just there, but who are some of their players maybe that have caught your eye in these first 3 weeks?
First 3 weeks, got to give it up to Cody Faber. He's impressed me a lot. Just his resiliency, going through each practice, wanting to get better. Andrew Depp, one of our leaders here on defense, he sometimes he's beaten me to the rink for practices. The dedication that kid shows is bar none. So, those 2 are definitely up top there.
So I guess going forward, and you mentioned a couple of matchups this weekend at Illinois, and then the team will have a home weekend series next weekend. UW Oshkosh, including a home matchup coming up on Saturday, October the 20th. Puck will be dropped at 11:45 a.m. As this team continues to grow and hopefully put more games in the win column, what needs to happen in your opinion?
They need to buy into the systems. They need to trust one another. Positivity is a big thing too. We can't get down on our negative play. So if we pick each other up and move forward each game, set small little goals expectations-wise here, and since we've been doing that, it's been all uphill from here. So,
Coach, well, thanks a lot for your time. Best of luck the rest of the season, and again, be sure to come out and support the ACHA men's ice hockey team. Next opportunity is at home, coming up on October 20th. You can find the full schedule at cuwfalcons.com. When we come back here on the Falcon Focus podcast, we switch gears to women's soccer, and we'll talk with freshman Angela Macchia. Stay tuned to the Falcon Focus podcast. Welcome back to the Falcon Focus podcast. You've been known by freshman Angela Macchia, who we learned during the break is no longer a midfielder but a defender on the women's soccer team. Let's start there. Was that a tough adjustment, going from midfield to now focusing solely on the defensive side?
Yeah, well, I originally played at defensive mid, so I'm pretty decent at defender. But I'm not going to lie, the last time I played center back was before high school. So it's fun, I'm not going to lie. It's really nice to have Ashley and Josie on each side, and I think it's going well so far.
Before we talk more about this current Falcon women's soccer team, let's go back to your high school days in nearby Cedarburg High School, and great deal of success both in soccer and basketball. The soccer team state qualification your freshman year, basketball state your sophomore year. Did those experiences maybe help prepare you for now this college opportunity?
It really did. I'm not going to lie. For definitely being on varsity, really bringing that intensity and the speed of play, it helped. Just having the versatility with basketball as well really just opened my mind to bringing new ideas and leadership roles and bringing new aspects to my game in every way.
So playing two sports, why soccer, not basketball at the college level?
I've always just been more focused on soccer my whole life. It's just been like the first priority for sure.
Now, what's kind of unique is you have a couple sisters also playing college soccer. One sister, Elena, goalkeeper at Milwaukee, having a great year in which she's gone 11-1, 0.68 goals against average, has been part of 6 shutouts. And then Gina, who's part of the Carroll University Pioneers program, and she has 1 goal and a couple of assists. What was that like growing up with, 2 sisters? You guys all play soccer, you're not all playing at a high level. I got to believe it's pretty competitive.
It is still. Playing with them was my absolute favorite thing. I wouldn't change it for the world. Now playing, it's still competitive, but everyone's always at each other's game, which is really awesome, and always rooting on each other.
You mentioned to me, too, you had the opportunity, all 3 of you, to play together at the high school level on the same team. That had to be pretty unique.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, I wouldn't trade it for the world. Having all of them, both of them on the field was amazing. I got the chance to play with my little sister as well, Kat, my senior year, and Elena, that was awesome.
So how do your parents decide? Let's say you're all playing at the same time. How do they decide which game to go to?
So it's really who's the closest, so I guess I'm pretty lucky. But if we're all away, she'll literally have 3 screens going at one time. Shout out to my mom, she's pretty awesome.
For you, was it a big adjustment going from high school to college?
I tore my ACL coming into college, so it was definitely huge. I had 1 year where I couldn't really do too much, but jumping back into it, I was just really hungry for the game, so I think that's what really helped me adjust quickly.
We talked about the change from midfielder to now a central defender. Other than that, how do you feel like this season's been going for you individually?
Me personally, I think it's gone very well. Coming back from an injury, I'm really happy with how I've been playing. The team has been super awesome, and I think we're really starting to really play and get to know each other and work really hard for each other.
Now, you made your collegiate debut on September 6th at UW-Whitewater. Did it feel different? Was it special knowing that this is your first opportunity in a college uniform?
I was very nervous, not gonna lie. Just knowing that was my first steps on the fields, very nerve-wracking, but I connected passes and I did what I could do. So.
And then September 10th, you got your first start against Lake Forest. You've been a starter pretty much ever since. Do you feel like, we talked about the position change, but do you feel like your role is set right now, or is it, your role on this team, is it always changing? As far as what's expected of you?
I feel that one of my roles is to help lead the back line with, I guess the other girls. We all, have to stay connected and make sure we're shifting and everything at the same time. Roles, I think, is really just to stay strong. Since I'm a younger player, is just to make sure I do what I can do and to keep the ball and to keep it moving.
Now, I do have to ask, because one of your roles is as co-host of The Chirp, which you can find at CWFalcons.com, which, by the way, is in season number 3. And for those that have no clue what I'm talking about, what, first of all, is The Chirp?
I didn't know personally when I first came, so I was surprised when they asked me. I was like, why are you asking me? But so it's the host show that we do, and we talk about the season and the games that happen and the games that are yet to come, and then we do a quick little funny clip or activity at the end, which is, it's really fun.
So how did you become the co-host?
They just asked me, they were for sure gonna have Liv, but then they said they needed someone serious. I don't know why I came to mind, but I guess that happened. So I guess they needed to mix serious with goofy.
Was it an easy yes, or did you take some time
once
to
I
think
watched
about
it, absolutely, for sure.
If you watch it, you mentioned it's fun, but it's informative as well. How do you guys come up with the show content?
We look at bigger D1 schools. They have a lot of host shows like that. So we look at those. It's just really what comes to mind. Like Kenna, Liv, Hannah, and myself. I think we're pretty creative people. Just really comes.
Do you have a favorite episode so far?
The one that's coming up, sneak peek, it's the Best Friends Challenge. That one's super fun, but the Whisper Challenge was really fun too.
One that I enjoyed was you guys were filling out trivia questions for Coach Call and Coach Middendorf and challenging how well they knew the team. Did the results surprise you at all? And if you haven't seen it, please watch. I'm not going to tell you how it ended, but did the results surprise you at all as to who got how many questions right?
Not really. Well, I guess how much they knew, yes, but Hannah was very competitive and so was Coach, so they just kept on shouting out answers. It was kind of supposed to be more like contained than that, but it didn't happen. That's all right, though.
So how far in advance, like you mentioned the upcoming show that fans can check out, how far in advance do you have these episodes planned out, and how often? Is it once a week? Is it a couple of weeks and fans expect to see the chirp?
Once a week for sure. We film like twice a week, I'd say. We film the activity that we do and then the recaps and the previews. Other than that, it's just how fast the editing process goes.
So, again, you can watch the chirp at cwfalcons.com. To wrap up this interview, I got to ask you then, you're in the business of previewing games. Lakeland coming up, that's Wednesday, next home matchup, which will kick off at 3:30. Your thoughts on the week ahead with Lakeland and Illinois Tech?
Lakeland and Illinois Tech, definitely. We're going to use Lakeland to get ready for Illinois Tech, and Illinois Tech is the big game. We got to win it for sure.
Yeah, and look for that. 3:30 Wednesday is the first one against Lakeland, then at Illinois Tech coming up on a Saturday. Angela, thanks a lot for your time. Best of luck with the season and best of luck with the chirp.
Thank you for having me.
We'll come back and take a look at the week ahead for Falcon Athletics here on the Falcon Focus podcast.
You know, God never intended for us to live a comfortable life. He created us to go outside our comfort zones, to use our gifts and talents in the service of others, to live a you-first life in a me-first world. At Concordia University, it's our mission to prepare you for that path, so that you stand apart from the crowd and live a life that's actually uncommon. Concordia University. Live uncommon.
Welcome back to the Falcon Focus podcast. Man, we are moving right along here as we get to the final segment. I do want to thank our guests, though, both Brandon Richards, the ACHA men's ice hockey first-year head coach, as they get ready for another busy weekend with games at Illinois, and then women's soccer with freshman Angela Macchia, who was a defender despite what rosters may say, and she gets ready to defend on Fitting Field, Lakeland, Wednesday, 3:30. So all these moving parts here as we're live here from 9:30 to 10. That's what happens when we're live. You just never know what goes on behind the scenes. But we're on Facebook Live. You can watch the archive at cwfalcons.com. You can also download the audio thanks to Podbean. So what is coming up this week? It's a light week as far as home matchups go. Only one home date, and that is coming up on Wednesday with women's soccer. And that's what's up next as the women's soccer team taking on Lakeland with a 3:30 kickoff. Again, only home event for Falcon Athletics, and if you cannot be at Fitting Field, the game broadcast for you on the Falcon Athletic Network. Right now, Lakeland with 4 victories, 9 defeats, and 1 tie. 0-6, though, in conference play. They've been outscored 24-4 in the conference. Falcons beating the Muskies 12 straight. Also on Wednesday, men's soccer against Lakeland at 7 p.m. And Lakeland right now, 3-10, 0-6 in the conference. They've been outscored 28-0. Falcons beating the Muskies 7 straight, so that one on Wednesday. Friday, women's volleyball is at Benedictine. They will serve up set 1 of best of 5 at 7 p.m. Benedictine right now 3-3 in the conference. ACHA men's ice hockey also taking place on Friday at Illinois. They drop the puck at 10 p.m. Coming up on a Saturday, it is women's cross country, men's cross country. They will be at the UW-Oshkosh Collegetown Invitational, and the women start at 10:30 a.m. The men will get underway at 11:15. Women's tennis looking to bounce back. They're at Lakeland at 10 a.m. Football looking to continue their strong start. They will be at Aurora, 1 o'clock kickoff. Right now, the football teams we mentioned sits tied for first with Eureka. The Red Devils are 5-0 overall. Both teams are 2-0 in conference play. Aurora, they're 1-4, 1-1 in the conference. They're coming off a victory against Concordia Chicago, 35-30. Women's volleyball, might this be the conference championship? Well, if you go by preseason polls, absolutely. They will be at Aurora at 1 p.m. The two teams are expected to finish tied for first. Aurora with a busy week. They have 3 matches this week. They will be taking on Rockford tonight. They will be taking on MSOE Friday before hosting the Falcons on Saturday. Aurora, again, the matchup, the Falcons have beaten them 6 straight, including back-to-back years in the NAC Tournament Championship. ACHA men's ice hockey wraps up their weekend series at Illinois. They drop the puck at 1:30 on Saturday. Men's soccer is at Illinois Tech at 3:30, and going into their matchup on Wednesday at Marion. Illinois Tech is 7-6, 2-4 in the conference. They've won 3 straight after beating Maranatha last night by a 3-0 score. I mentioned women's soccer with a big one against Illinois Tech at 6 p.m. as of October 2nd. And the new regional rankings come out today, but as of October 2nd, Illinois Tech was ranked 7th, although they did lose to Concordia Chicago on Wednesday, which probably will knock them out of the top 10, but we'll see. At the moment, Falcons are tied for second with Illinois Tech, both teams at 5-1, both looking back at Dominican. So that's the week ahead, and of course you can check out all the recaps, the final stats, visit cwfalcons.com, and of course we'll recap those events coming up next Tuesday here on the podcast. Hope you'll join us then, 9:30 to 10. We're live on Facebook Live, archived at cwfalcons.com. You can download the audio thanks to Podbean. That'll do it for this week's show. Thanks to all involved. Matt Menzl saying so long, and thanks for joining us for the Falcon Focus Podcast.